Coverage you can count on. KOMU 8 News starts now.
Well, right here, you're taking a live look over dreary downtown Columbia. And if you were out today, you probably needed a raincoat or an umbrella because rain has been coming through mid-Missouri all afternoon. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Taylor Freeman.
And I'm Evie Allen. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. We're going to check in right now with First Alert weathercaster Kesley. Now, Kesley, what can we expect for this evening and the rest of the week?
Well, if you're definitely headed out very soon, you're probably going to need that umbrella as you're heading out the door as rain becomes a little bit more widespread across central Missouri, and that's really going to be what we're expecting throughout the rest of the evening and into the overnight hours as well. Now, there may be a couple of dry times, but you're still going to want to keep that umbrella handy as those dry moments are going to be very short-lived as we have a pretty continual rainfall pretty much throughout the rest of the entire evening and continuing into the overnight hours. Now, after this rainfall, we will see some clearing skies early tomorrow. Those are going to allow those temperatures to get back up into those lower 50s. I'll have a couple more details on what to expect tomorrow and continuing tonight, just in a couple of minutes.
All right, thank you, Kesley. Well, new drone video out of Turkey shows the scale of the destruction caused by recent earthquakes. This video is from right near the epicenter of the 7.8 magnitude earthquake on Monday. As you can see, numerous buildings collapsed. Rescue workers were busy today scouring the debris for signs of survivors. The death toll in Turkey and neighboring Syria has climbed to 12,000, and that number is expected to keep rising as search and rescue efforts continue. Well, donations are being dropped off and sorted at the Turkey Embassy in Washington, D.C. for surviving victims. Items such as coats, blankets, and anything to keep people alive in the cold are being donated. Each night, donations will be flown to Turkey, and one volunteer says they're looking out for those in need.
We look out for each other, and there were so many people just trying to do right and get as many resources to the area as possible.
Now, search teams from more than 24 countries are working with emergency workers in Syria and Turkey on rescue and cleanup efforts.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky visited Britain today in a bid for more aid. It's his second trip abroad since Russian forces invaded Ukraine almost a year ago. Zelensky spoke to British lawmakers and won a pledge to train Ukrainian pilots on advanced NATO fighter jets. Zelensky thanked Britain for, quote, marching with us.
We know Russia will lose. And we really know the victory will change the world. And this will be a change that the world has long needed.
Zelensky said the victory would be a, quote, victory over the very idea of war. U.S. intelligence officials say they believe the balloon shot down Saturday is part of an extensive surveillance program by the Chinese military. The U.S. does not know the exact size of the fleet of Chinese surveillance balloons, but one official says the program has directed about half a dozen flights over U.S. airspace. China maintains the balloon was a weather balloon thrown off course, but it did request that the U.S. return the debris. Well, after his State of the Union address last night, President Biden is taking his message on the road.
That's right. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest from the White House.
President Biden on the road today in battleground Wisconsin.
Last night I reported on the State of the Union. It is strong. It is strong. And it's strong because of you.
Building off the energy from a spirited State of the Union address. The president extending a hand with repeated appeals for bipartisanship, though today Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy saying his party doesn't buy it.
Well, I thought it was probably one of the most partisan State of the Union speeches I've ever heard.
President Biden hit back against Republican heckling. Fallout today from this moment when he drew boisterous boos.
Well, I'm glad to see you.
For calling out an idea floated by just a few Republicans to let Medicare and Social Security sunset. The president then stirring both sides of the aisle to their feet to back the popular programs.
Stand up and show them. We'll not cut Social Security. We will not cut Medicare.
I think he intended this setup. And so I think this was fun for him. They took the bait. and he landed a big punch last night.
The unmasked animosity from some Republicans, a sharp departure from traditional decorum, and a symbol of the real challenges President Biden faces in advancing his agenda with Republicans in control of the House. A key White House advisor telling us the president won't back down.
He's always been a fighter. People may have forgotten it, but we were all reminded of that last night.
President Biden now selling his message directly to the American people as he eyes a second term. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Well, President Biden is expected to announce a run for re-election in 2024 soon. Tomorrow, he heads to Florida, the home of likely 2024 rivals, Donald Trump. Well, 3 former Twitter executives testified before a House Oversight Committee today. The committee is conducting a hearing on Twitter's decision to temporarily prevent users from sharing a New York Post article about Hunter Biden's laptop. Twitter's former deputy counsel denies any wrongdoing. They say it's not obvious what the right response is to a suspected cyber attack by another government.
I believe Twitter erred in this case because we wanted to avoid repeating the mistakes of 2016.
Twitter executives previously said they were suspicious of anything that looked like foreign influence and were primed to act.
Here's what's happening right now. The True False Film Fest just announced the film lineup for this year's festival. There will be 33 new feature films and 25 new short films. There also will be 8 world premieres and 7 North American premieres in the lineup. For a full list of the films to showcase at the festival, head on over to our website, KOMU.com.
Well, a couple of Missouri lawmakers are trying to make the state responsible for cleaning up large roadkill. The bill would require MoDOT to pick up and bury dead animals 3 feet deep. The Department of Conservation would have to pay for it. One of the bill sponsors says it's important Missouri changes the way deer are disposed of. Kent Hayden is a veterinarian and says leaving carcasses on the side of the road to decay creates more problems.
In my opinion, somebody as a veterinarian who dealt with chronic wasting for several years, it's not a very good plan. I disagree with their strategy. 2, for economic development, if you have people coming through to look at your town and all they see is dead loaded deer, that's not a very good look.
Now, a Democrat has also sponsored an identical bill. They have a public hearing scheduled for tomorrow. MoDOT says it cannot handle the extra work with the current major staffing shortage.
State Supreme Court judges Patricia Breckenridge and George Draper will retire this fall. The Missouri Constitution requires judges to retire by the age of 70 or they automatically forfeit the position. Both Breckenridge and Draper are nearing their 70th birthdays. The governor will pick from 3 candidates to fill those 2 seats.
Prosecutors filed charges against a St. Louis woman accused of threatening family for more than a year. According to members of the family, the same woman has apparently come to their home several times, one time showing up with a hammer and banging on their front door, which was captured on this here doorbell there. Police are still looking for the suspect.
Well, coming up, find out how one local school is taking an extra step to help its students find jobs.
Plus, experts are concerned one tanker car from the Ohio train derailment could be a ticking time bomb.
And as we head closer to Valentine's Day, I know many people are thinking with just 6 days away, will that forecast be lovely? I'll have an answer coming up.
But first, take a live look over downtown Columbia. This is KOMU 8 News at 5, coverage you can count on. Welcome back. One Mid-Missouri Technical School is growing and showing that hands-on job training is in demand.
KOMU 8's Tia Maggio went to the Lynn Tech Career Expo today and is here to explain what jobs are up for grabs. Tia.
Hire and provide internships in things like construction, electrical, and welding. This is the largest career fair to date at State Tech. The school itself has also grown with more than 2,000 students. That's up from 900 just 6 years ago. All students were required to attend the fair and had the opportunity to meet with companies face to face. Mason Zolman, this is his second time coming to the event. He says it's made the process of finding employers much easier.
You don't have to go out and try and find people. They're already all put into one room and you just have to go and talk to them.
State Tech says it's excited for the future of the expo with new employers already on the waiting list for next year. Reporting in the studio, Tia Maggio, KOMU8 News.
All right, thank you, Tia. Well, the IRS says you might want to wait before filing your taxes this year. That's because 18 states gave out some sort of rebate check in 2022, and the IRS isn't quite sure how to tax those on the federal level just yet. The vice president of state projects at the Tax Foundation says the IRS is still deciding whether those checks are taxable at the federal level.
Well, coming up, officials are still trying to figure out how to handle a train car at risk of exploding.
And back here in central Missouri, as rain becomes more widespread overnight, I'll tell you when you can expect that to last until tomorrow morning and what you might expect at the tail end of it.
Well, a bomb threat forced the evacuation of the courthouse hosting the Alex Murdaugh trial today. The judge dismissed the jury and ordered the evacuation just before 12:30 this afternoon. The South Carolina Law Enforcement Division later released a statement confirming court personnel received the bomb threat. One courtroom spectator says the incident scared him.
I wanted to make sure my wife and my friend were out first, but it's a little unnerving, but it's, I guess it's par for the course for this trial.
The trial resumed just after 2:30 this afternoon.
Last night, the Memphis City Council voted to pass several public safety reforms in their first meeting since the beating death of Tyree Nichols. Nichols died days after he was beaten by Memphis police during a traffic stop last month. 5 officers were fired and charged with Nichols' death. 7 more Memphis police officers are expected to be disciplined in this case. Some residents are still waiting to return home after a train derailment in Ohio. Emergency crews ordered the evacuation of a 1-mile radius of the crash. There's still a concern that one of the rail cars is a potential risk of explosion that could launch deadly debris.
We've gathered a lot of information. Everybody's, going over that information right now. We want to get the residents back in their home. I hate that, we had to pull the residents out of our home. Nobody likes that.
Officials say the situation is improving, but are unsure when residents can return to their homes.
All right, thank you, Kesley. Well, part of I-70 just west of Columbia will shut down for 10 minutes tonight. Traffic in both directions will be shut down at 10 this evening. Boone Electric Cooperative is removing a power line near Perchie Creek and west of Sorrells Overpass. Crews are expected to be on site for about 30 minutes.
Another Bed Bath & Beyond closure hits close to home. Find out more next.
Right now, the U.S. gleaning fresh intel on that downed Chinese balloon and now revealing
Bed Bath & Beyond is closing more than 150 stores across the country, including its Columbia location. The store has signs advertising a closing sale with 10% to 30% off the entire store. Bed Bath & Beyond says it will ultimately have 360 stores, and the company will be about half the size it used to be. Well, energy giant BP announced it will reduce future gas and oil production for energy affordability and security. The company announced in 2020 it would cut oil production by 40% by 2030. Now, BP has decided to lower the amount to a 25% cut in production. The CEO says the company will increase its investment in fossil fuels by about $1 billion and prioritize affordability over cleaner energy.
Illegal border crossings at the U.S.-Mexico border hit a 2-year low last month. The Department of Homeland Security says the number of encounters dipped below 130,000. That's the lowest number since February of 2021. The Secretary of Homeland Security credits the decline to new policies that paved the way for migrants to seek asylum. And we'll have one more check on your forecast. That's next. Now here's a look at what we're following for KOMU 8 News at 6.
Columbia businesses are gearing up for the Super Bowl Sunday. We'll tell you how they're preparing and how businesses will benefit tonight at 6.
Temperatures starting early tomorrow morning, going to be back into the middle 30s before we do start warming up as we see more sunshine in the afternoon. We'll get to high temperatures in the lower 50s starting tomorrow afternoon. As we head throughout the rest of this week, though, Friday's looking a lot cooler. Temperatures back into the upper 30s by Friday. But don't worry, we do start a warming trend as we head into the beginning of this weekend. Saturday is going to be back into the middle 40s, middle 50s by Sunday, and we're going to continue that warming trend really throughout the beginning of next week. We do see a couple chances for rain starting on Tuesday, which is Valentine's Day. I don't know if any of you guys have any outdoor plans, but it might not be the best day for outdoor activities. So we could see some chances for rain, but if you do have outdoor activities, maybe Monday is the better day to.
Well, it looks like Super Bowl day is going to be perfect, though.
Yes. That's going to be great. Great tailgating weather, certainly. We like this, Kesley. Keep those temperatures coming.
I'll try my best.
Yeah.
I don't control the weather, guys.
Yes, you do. Just kidding. Well, thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you again at 6 o'clock. Have a great rest of your evening, and Nightly News is next.